Now, I'd like to introduce our next guest. One of the reasons why we have strength at Chapman University in entrepreneurship is that we really have the support of our students when they're here. They're enthusiastic. They come up with great ideas. We have organizations like CEO. We have our MBA association. We also have the support of our alumni. I'm glad to see several of our alumni here. They support us after they graduate. And on top of that, we have the support of the Orange County business community. Our trustees, our board of governors, they're really remarkable in terms of how much they support the university and our initiatives. It's easy for students and for faculty to come up with great ideas, but then a lot of times what we need are resources and support and getting additional contributions in terms of contacts. Who can we go out to in the Orange County business community? I'd like to introduce our keynote speaker, Barry Goldfarb, and he's been very supportive of the entire campus and also supportive of entrepreneurship. And I certainly want to appreciate all of his contributions to us.
Before I speak, I'm more impressed your dad is playing golf with one hand. I can't play with two hands.
I'll just say on that, at my bachelor party about 5 years ago, my dad is the only time I've ever seen as a one-handed man. He hit a hole-in-one on a 200-yard par three. Pretty amazing. And I saw it.
That was the big impression. I want to thank Richard and PK, one for inviting me here tonight. And something else I was really impressed with when Richard said, "Good evening, everybody." How'd you get him to say good evening back to you?
I do that in every class. They have to be awake to come to my class.
And then this audience is sleeping. Well, let me start off by telling you one of my favorite stories. A boat docked in a tiny Mexican village, and American tourists complimented the Mexican fishermen on the quality of the fish and asked how long it took him to catch this fish. "Not very long," answered the Mexican fisherman. "But then, why didn't you stay out longer?" The Mexican explained his small catch was sufficient to meet his needs and those of his family. The American asked, "But what do you do with the rest of your time?" The fisherman meekly said, "I sleep late, I fish a little, I play with my children, and take a siesta with my wife. I go into the village to see my friends, I have a few drinks, I play the guitar, I sing a few songs, and I have a very full life." The American interrupted, "I have an MBA from Harvard, and I could help you out. You should start by fishing longer every day. You can then sell the extra fish you catch. With the extra revenue, you could buy a bigger boat. With the bigger boat, you could probably get 2 or 3 more boats till you have a fleet of boats. Instead of selling your fish to a middleman, you probably then can negotiate directly with the processing plants around the world and maybe even open up your own plant. You could then leave this little village, move to Mexico City, move to Los Angeles, and if you're really lucky, you can move to New York. From there, you can direct your huge enterprise." The Mexican fisherman meekly said, "Well, how long is this going to take?" And the Harvard MBA said 20, perhaps 25 years. "And after that, what'll happen?" "That's when it gets really interesting," answered the Harvard MBA. "When your business gets really big, you can start selling stocks, you can do an IPO, you'll make millions." "Millions? Really?" the Mexican fisherman said. "And after that?" "After that, you'll be able to retire, live in a tiny village near the coast, sleep late, play with your children, catch a few fish, take a siesta with your wife, and spend your evenings drinking and enjoying your friends." So what's the moral of this story? Does anybody have a moral to the story? Anybody? Somebody must have a moral. I'll tell you the moral. Okay? Does money buy you happiness? Okay, in this case, it doesn't. Before I go on with my talk, a little disclaimer. Anything I say tonight is surely my ideas and not the opinions of Chapman University. You're attending an entrepreneur program at Chapman University that we just saw ranks in the top 10 nationally out of 2,300 colleges and universities that was surveyed by both the Princeton Review and Entrepreneur magazine. In my opinion, and I'm sure of all the instructors here, it ranks #1. Chapman not only has, I feel, the best facilities, the finest instructors, but the best and brightest future entrepreneurs, some of whom I've already met. I think I was chosen to give this introduction not only because of my entrepreneur background and the fact that I have 2 kids in the school, but recently I was reminded by my wife I forgot to check the financial aid box on the application form. When asked to speak, the first thing I did was look up entrepreneur. Webster's dictionary definition said, the person who organizes, manages, and assumes the risk of a business. I agreed to the speech. I've done some of those things, not all of those things. The theme of my talk tonight is based on some of the best advice I've ever received. It was not from a teacher, it was not from a friend, it was not from a religious person. It was from my mom. She never had any higher education, but what she drilled into me was, don't do anything stupid. This has been my mantra since I've been a little kid. I've made mistakes before. We're all human. But in business, as in life, you don't want to make that mistake twice. What has helped me before not to make a mistake twice is what I call push the pause button. In the back of my mind, I have this little button. And before I speak, many times people ask me something and I'll say, let me get back to you. I don't think there's anything that's that important that you have to, whether it's in a relationship or whether it's in business, that you have to just blurt out something. And it could be in the midst of an emotional outbreak, it could be in the midst of a business decision, it could be in the midst of talking to your wife. One bad decision could destroy years of work, hundreds of jobs, lots of money, yours and investors, in both personal and business relationships. Does everybody in this room, anybody in this room, play poker?